by creating unifying little model societies. I am dividing this paper into two parts. The first part is, where are we now? Where were we in the past? And the second part is, where we should be and how to get there. So to start with the first part, two forces, according to Swami Vivekananda, two forces, conflicting forces, are constantly in operation throughout the nature. One is constantly dividing or differentiating, and the other is constantly unifying or harmonizing. As far as the social life of man is concerned also, this is very much true. From the time the society began, these forces are there, although they may be known by different names in different places and at different times, but they are there. According to Swami, these forces, the whole world is said to be or seemed to be the battleground of these two forces, conflicting as well as unifying. What are these forces like? Like wars, starting from the quarrels within the family, fights within the society, fights within the nation, wars between the countries, nation states as well as non-nation entities like Hamas and all. And then we have got the regional fanaticism, casteism, extremism, terrorism, and all sort of dysfunctional isms like that. And we have in our history the untiring efforts put in by the great seers, gurus, social reformers, preachers, etc. for unifying the world. But unfortunately, especially in the 21st century, what we are seeing is that these differentiating factors are gaining an upper hand. And all the sermons preached by the saintly people have fallen into deaf ears. But was India like this? Ancient India was different. One of the major highlights of the Vedic rishis was interconnectedness. We are living in an interdependent world. For anything and everything except for breathing, we depend on other people. When we are able to understand this, absorb this, and internalize this, then we will be able to have unity and harmony in the world. From such a concept, the Vedic rishis propagated the idea that the reality is one, although it is known in different names. Ekam Sat Vibra Bahuda Vadanti. And think about that Rigveda prayer, the group prayer. Sangachatvam, Samvadatvam, Samvo Manam Sijanatam, Deva Bhagam Yatha Purve, Samjanana Upasade, Samaniva Akuti, Samana Hridayaniva, Samana Mastuvo Mano, Yathava Susahasati. What a comprehensive appeal for world unity. That was the time when we had this Sanatana Dharma in our country. From such a spirit of unity, we could interconnect people. We could interconnect everything in the nature. But then what happened to that culture? With the advent of Varnasrama culture and the wrong interpretation of Varnasrama culture, various castes and subcastes emerged. And the, the priesthood with ulterior motives deliberately distorted the dictate. See, in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 4, 13 verse number 13, starts by saying, Lord Krishna says that Chadurvarnyam Maya Srishtam. But that is only the first quarter of that verse. In the second half, he says, the crux of the verse is in the second half of that first line, that is Guna Karma Vibhagacha. But concealing that clandestinely for the personal advantage, this priesthood declared that it is given by the Lord that I have created Chadurvanya. According to Swami Chinmayananda, this priest class has been the number one anti-social, anti-God element that Hinduism had to bear with. Blasphemers. With the advent of Varnasrama culture, came up this Haindava culture and then Trimurti system, where all sort of superstitions and the untouchability, everything came up. And that harmonious coexistence of the Rishi culture, that period has been lost. According to Swami Vivekananda, way back in 1897, he said that caste system is the number one social evil in India, and that has been due to the actually he said that the reformers are under the wrong impression that this is because of caste system, is because of the religious representation only. But he said that it is because of the social conditions, curious social conditions in India. And if you want to do away with the caste system, you have to change the social conditions. Going a step further, Paramahamsa Yogananda said that what is to be changed is not the social conditions, but the human consciousness. And he said, I would like to read it out actually. Paramahamsa Yogananda says that if you want to create world peace, where people with different faiths live in harmony and work together to develop the society, the best way to do that would be to create little societies that can inspire others to make the recommended changes individually in themselves, rather than forcing everyone to march in lockstep togetherness towards some general good that often ends in disaster. If an example works and the results are there for everybody to see, people will be inspired to follow that. They will be inspired to change. Without a desire to change, no one will ever do better at anything. One moon, points out Yogananda, gives more light than all the stars together. One transformed human being has a more beneficial impact on others than 1,000 people campaigning for improvements, which, when the shouting is over, often leaves everything no more changed than when a deck of cards is reshuffled. Does it sound familiar? Although these sort of these symposiums or colloquium or seminars and peace initiatives and all, where are we now? See West Asia. West Asia is in flux. What started as a direct military confrontation between Israel and Hamas has snowballed into a regional major crisis now. Today's paper says that now it started in I think 7th of October last, and by now 28,065 people have been dead. Israel's attacks on Gaza, and more than 66,000 people injured and wounded. West Asia has been in conflicts earlier also, between states like Iran and Iraq, then Israel and Hamas and other non-state various denominations of non-state entities, and now Iran, USA all joined in, and it is becoming unmanageable, and there is no peace in sight in the foreseeable future. And think about caste system. In Tamil Nadu, for example, for instance, not only in Tamil Nadu, actually in various states of the country, this caste discrimination against Dalit is rampant. In Tamil Nadu, I understand that there are separate chapels within the same village for Dalit Christians. Although they constitute a majority, they are not, Dalits are not elevated to the level of priests or bishops. So they say that the one Dalit MP from Tamil Nadu, he says that actually caste system has swallowed Christianity. This is not only the case of Tamil Nadu. Elsewhere also it is happening in the country. So that is the position where we are now. Now, let me go to the, because of the time paucity, I am curtailing many things. Let me go to the second part, which is more important, about which I want to talk. That is where we should be and how to get there. Navajyoti Sri Karunagara Guru, the founder Guru of Shantigiri Ashram in Trivandrum, has rolled out some trailblazing and revolutionary initiatives to combat the prevailing state of social disintegration and cultural degradation and the uninhibited orgies of violence and massacres in the name of mutually conflicting socio-political ideologies and religious fanaticism. According to Guru, the reason for the all-pervading moral, cultural, and social decadence is the absence of a unifying spiritual wisdom. We were talking about differentiating and unifying forces. The absence of a unifying spiritual wisdom is the root cause of all these problems in India. Why India? Across the globe. As we have seen in the ancient Jnana Marga, or wisdom tradition propagated by the rishis of yore, sought to achieve human upliftment. With this objective, Sanatana Dharma, the eternal system of righteousness and duties, was shared and perpetuated in the bygone ages through a line of spiritual masters and disciples. This has come to be known as Guru Shishya Parambara. And from such a sound spiritual basis, the great country India could give the message to the whole world, Vasudeva Kudumbagam, Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu, Egam Vipra Behuda Vadandi, Behujana Hitaya, Behujana Sukhaya. And from Brahadaranya Upanishad, Asodoma Sadgamaya, Tamasorma Jodurgamaya, Mrityorma Tamasorma Jodurgamaya, Mrityorma Amradam Gamaya, et al. And others. In Bhagavad Gita, the very last sloga, the 701st sloga says, Etra Yogeshwara Krishno, Etra Partho Dhanurdhara, Tatra Srir Vijayor Pudi, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. Sanjaya is telling Dhritarashtra that, according to me, Matir Mama, where the highly evolved master, Yogeshwara Krishna, and the disciple who is prepared to act, Dhanurdhara, Arjuna, Dhanurdhara, to do the bidding of the master, where the disciple is also ready. There, all sort of prosperity, affluence, victory, and happiness as well as order in the nation will prevail. That is what Navajot Sri Karanaguru has done. He has re-established that Guru Shishya Parambara. He has re-established the Sanatana Dharma. He has brought back the Jnana Marga, wisdom tradition. Guru was highly critical about the practice of using gods to perpetuate caste and caste differences. He says, we must transcend our ego. The problem is that individual ego getting expanded to group ego. All this extremism and terrorism, all because of this expanded group ego. We must transcend the ego and understand that all of us are part of the same almighty power. Such a vision will exclude social discrimination of all nature and oppression in every form. So, recognizing the supremacy of Brahman as the ultimate divine power and light, in Shandagiri Ashram as well as its branches across India and abroad, Om representing Brahman is the object of worship. Shandagiri prayer halls across the country and elsewhere are open to people from all religions, castes, grades, etc. Disciples and hundreds of thousands of Guru's devotees spread across various castes and religions pray to one God, Brahman, and mingle freely and dine together everywhere. It is not just practicing, it is not preaching, it is practicing. At Shandagiri, Guru has laid the foundation for establishing a wholesome spiritual culture and casteless social order through a series of social spiritual re-engineering mechanisms. Like what? 70%, more than 70% of the marriages in Shandagiri Parambara, in Shandagiri lineages, are inter-caste marriages. Can you think about that? Can any other spiritual organization in the country boast of such a position? More than 70% of the marriages in the Shandagiri lineages are inter-caste marriages. The boys and girls for the Vetlok are selected based on the compatibility of the jiva, which is a spiritual exercise being done by the world master only, and no consideration for caste, creed, color, financial background at all. Why the exhortation of all the masters fell into deaf ears? Guru says that it's because the karmic baggage that we are carrying. As Sadguru says, we individually are crowd in one. Individually, we people are a crowd in one. We are having the baggage of karmas of our fathers, forefathers, and others, and the deities that they have all worshipped. So, if that has to be removed, and that must be removed, then it has to be undertaken through a spiritual intercession, which is something which can be done by a highly evolved master only. That is being done in Shandagiri Ashram through Guru Puja, also called as Rishi Puja or Petru Shuddhi. That is beyond the scope of this limited paper, so I am not going into that. So, what I am saying is that, as Paramahamsa Yogananda said, little society has been created in Shandagiri, which is getting expanded by day, although slowly but surely, and it is going to expand. It is going to create a casteless society, and that way the world peace and harmony will be re-established. Thank you.